God. I'm thrilled the White House called me tonight because I'm actually working on a hip-hop album. It's a concept album about the life of someone I think embodies hip-hop, Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. You laugh, but it's true.
Little did he know that Hamilton would become a huge success when it opened at the Richard Rodgers Theater 6 years later. Oh, and that's the set, but more on that later. Hamilton would go on to receive tons of praise, including from the First Lady, the Queen herself, Michelle Obama.
I saw the off-Broadway version of Hamilton, got to meet the whole cast then. Was I excited enough? Was I excited enough to see you all? And it was simply, as I tell everybody, the best piece of art in any form that I have ever seen in my life.
And her enthusiasm did not go unwarranted. Hamilton would go on to win a total of 11 Tony Awards, including for Best Musical. The musical chronicles the life of Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton in the style of a hip-hop opera. The first several numbers in the show introduce the audience to the cast of characters vital to Hamilton's life, including John Lawrence, Hercules Mulligan, Marquis de Lafayette, and the three Schuyler sisters, Peggy, Eliza, and Angelica, our main focus for our story today. Satisfied takes place during the wedding reception of Eliza and Hamilton, where Angelica is presenting her toast as maid of honor. The title was inspired by the opening line from a letter from historical Angelica to Alexander Hamilton. You are happy, my dear friend, to find consolation in words and thoughts. I cannot be so easily satisfied. The introduction of the piece begins with the announcement of Angelica giving the maid of honor toast.
A toast to the groom,
To the groom, to the groom, to the groom,
to the bride,
to the bride, to the bride.
from your sister,
Angelica, Angelica,
is always by your side, to your union,
to the revolution.
and the hope that you provide.
Provide, provide.
May you always be satisfied.
The rewind section uses the strings and other instruments to recreate the sound of a rewinding tape. On stage, Angelica stands in the center while the floor rotates in a circular motion around her and the lighting effects explode in white circles on the stage before shrinking to a dot and disappearing, representing a rewind of the story. Let's take a look at what that actually looks like. We're rewinding back now to A Winter's Ball, which is 2 tracks previous to this section. In the next section, the setup, Angelica sets the tone for the entire song.
I remember that night, I just might regret that night for the rest of my days.
She recites this text very quickly, as if she were afraid of someone else hearing it. She is already letting the audience know that she regrets everything that occurs here on forward in this piece. The following section is a reenactment of Angelica and Alexander first meeting. One of the recurring themes in the show is the musical motif where Alexander introduces himself.
Alexander Hamilton.
Lin-Manuel Miranda uses the motif every time Hamilton introduces himself. It is the same motif he sings in the opening number Alexander Hamilton when he states his name the second time.
Alexander Hamilton. His name is Alexander Hamilton.
He also does this when he sings the text, Just You Wait.
Just you wait, just you wait.
Alexander always sings this motif and sings it twice, as if to reassure himself that he just needs time and he will accomplish what he set out to do.
But just you wait, just you wait.
And now for the most difficult part of this piece. A wrap! Let's take a quick listen to it, shall we?
So this is what it feels like to match wits with someone at your level. What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom of seeing the light. It's Ben Franklin with the piano kite. You see it, right? The conversation lasted 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Everything we said in total agreement. It's a 3 minutes, a bit of a dance. A bit of a posture, it's a bit of a dance. He's a bit of a flirt, but I'm gonna give it a chance. I asked about his family. Did you see his answer? His hands started fidgeting. He looked askance. He's penniless. He's flying by the seat of his pants. Handsome boy. face. Then I turn and see my sister's face, and she is.
Hold up, that's a lot of words. Let's slow that down, shall we? So this is what it feels like to match wits with someone at your level. What the hell is the catch? It's the feeling of freedom, of seeing the light. It's Ben Franklin with the key and a kite. You see it, right? The conversation lasted 2 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. Everything we said in total agreement. It's a dream, and it's a bit of a dance. It's a bit of a posture, it's a bit of a stance. He's a bit of a flirt, but I'ma give it a chance. I asked about his family. Did you see his answer? His hand started fidgeting. He looked askance. He's penniless. He's flying by the seat of his pants. Handsome, and boy does he know it. Peach fuzz, and he can't even grow it. I want to take him far away from this place. Then I turn to see my sister's face, and she is... Looking at the rhythmic emphasis of the text, it appears that Angelica is not trying to emphasize specific words. Rather, she is reciting this rap as one cohesive thought. There's not an optimal time to breathe within this section, as the only rests are no longer than a dotted eighth until the sung measure close to the end of this section. This leads into the 3 fundamental truths: her role in society, why Alexander approached her in the first place, and her rejecting it, and the caring selflessness each sister has for each other. The first fundamental truth has Angelica explaining that she is a girl in a world in which my only job is to marry rich. Since women do not have the ability to work in order to gain a higher social status, she explains the uneasy reality that her only way to do so is to marry into a higher status. The second fundamental truth has Angelica explaining, he's after me because I'm a Schuyler sister, that elevates his status. She recognizes that due to her family name, there is a slight chance that Alexander is after the status associated with marrying a Schuyler, opposed to actually falling in love. This is apparent in, I'd have to be naive to set that aside. Maybe that is why I introduced him to Eliza, now that's his bride. Alexander is not concerned with which sister he marries, but that he actually accomplishes the task of marrying one. He even made this apparent in A Winter's Ball when he sings, "Is it a question of if Burr or which one?" The third and final fundamental truth has her sacrifice for her sister. I know my sister like I know my own mind. You will never find anyone as trusting or as kind. She believes that anyone would be lucky to have her sister, and therefore she believes Hamilton would love her. If I tell her that I love him, she'd be silently resigned. He'd be mine. She'd say I'm fine. She'd be lying. Even though both sisters love Alexander equally as much, Angelica knows that Eliza would choose Angelica's happiness over her own. Knowing this, Angelica sacrifices her own happiness for her sister's. And if that wasn't enough, there are flashbacks occurring between each one of these fundamental truths. Number 1.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
Number 2.
Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler,
My sister.
And number 3.
Thank you for all your service.
if it takes fighting a war for us to meet, it will have been worth it.
I'll leave you to it.
Wait, that sounds awfully familiar. Let's rewind that for a sec.
Where are you taking me?
I'm about to change your life.
Then by all means, lead the way.
Elizabeth Schuyler, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Schuyler,
My sister. Thank you for all your service.
if it takes fighting a war for us to meet, it will have been worth it.
I'll leave you to it.
Yep, those are the exact same words from Helpless. They are word for word the same, verbatim. The penultimate section is Angelica's acceptance of what she must do despite her own wants.
But when I fantasize at night, it's Alexander's eyes. As I romanticize what might have been if I hadn't sized him up so quickly. At least, my dear Eliza, as his wife. At least I keep his eyes in my life.
The final section of the piece brings Angelica back to present day and back to the wedding reception of Eliza and Alexander's wedding. Angelica recites the same words from the opening section of the piece. This bookend effect creates a sort of brackets of songs within songs. The end bracket makes the wedding toast almost ironic, since Angelica is conflicted with her own emotions on the whole situation. Now it's time to break it down. On writing Satisfied, Miranda said, "The lyrics to Satisfied, in which Angelica Schuyler recounts how Hamilton and her sister Eliza met and married, are some of the most intricate I have ever written. I can't even rap them, but Renee Elise Goldsberry, who plays Angelica, that's her conversational speed. That's how fast she thinks. You really get a sense that Angelica's the smartest person in the room, and she reads Hamilton within a moment of meeting him. Many critics have compared the style of this piece to the early days of hip-hop from the 1990s, comparing it to Busta Rhymes. 3 sources even compared it to Nicki Minaj. Yes, this Nicki Minaj. Those sources include Contemporary Theater Review, Onstage Blog, and Rolling Stone. And you can see those sources here, here, and here. We conclude today's video with a quote from the Washington Post. "The vigilante felt satisfied, which comes smack dab in the middle of Act 1, proves to be a wonderful springboard for discussion, because it embodies so many of the musical's irresistible attributes. Its restless, energetic resourcefulness, its ability to paint a historical mural and apply a modern varnish of commentary at the same time, its perspective shifts, its wit, its rigor. It's no wonder the song drew on and conjured from Miranda and the company all manner of cultural references, including West Side Story, A Chorus Line, The Matrix, and Ratatouille. And Angelica does all of this through Satisfied by using the restless energy in the music to rap about her innermost feelings for Alexander, and by using the wit she so cleverly matches with him to keep him in her life through her sister."